How to break in your snowboard boots before the season even starts. When you get a brand new pair of boots, they can be quite stiff and a little bit uncomfortable. The more you wear these boots and break them in, the more comfortable it's going to be the first time you go snowboarding. We're going to show you a couple of different ways to do that in this video. So this boot is a Burton Ion boot, and it's actually the step-on model from Burton, which is the kind of the convenience model where you don't have to have the ankle straps or toe straps anymore. This is actually the first time I've ever rode the step-on boots. I am pretty excited to try them out. Burton sent me these to try out. I'm going to be making several videos this year with beginner snowboarders, and I'm going to be using these myself. I will give you guys direct feedback as to what I think of them. Choosing a boot. The most important thing is to get the comfiest boot possible that you can find. You're going to be wearing boots 4, 5, sometimes 6 hours a day. So you want your foot to be as comfortable as possible. Everyone has different feet. Big feet, small feet, wide feet, skinny feet. You might need to try on a whole bunch of different boots until you find the one that you find is the most comfortable. Now, what I like to do, put your foot into the boot, do it up, walk around in them. I like to get quite a snug fit that my whole foot feels supported but not uncomfortable. So I'm lucky that the Burton boots fit pretty true to my feet, and I ride a 9.5 Burton boot as well. Now, when I've put them on, I can feel my toe touching into the boot. And if I stand in kind of a snowboard stance, when I say a snowboard stance, I'm actually pushing some weight into my hips and knees here, bending my knees. And what you'll find is that that position frees up a little bit of room around your toe. Now, my toe is still at the end of the boot, but it's not crushed up against the end. Some people like to size down their boots. So for example, they might go a half a size smaller. Again, that depends on what brand boot you have and what you like in your comfort zone for your feet. These boots here are using a liner that's called heat moldable. Heat moldable means that when you buy these at the shop, they can actually put it on a machine that heats up the liner. When you wear them in the shop, it'll start to mold them to your feet. If you don't have that option at your shop, you can do this at home just by wearing your boots. Wearing them around your house, in front of your fireplace, in a warm environment, will slowly start to mold those liners to your feet. And the more you wear your boots, the more molded they will become. Now, why do you want to break in your boots? When you first get a boot right out of the bat, it can be a little bit stiff and a bit uncomfortable. We're going to wear them and break them in so that when you go snowboarding, it's going to be more comfortable. You don't want to get up the hill on your very first day and be like, oh man, my feet hurt. You want to go and ride, you want to rip. So let's do it, let's break these in. The first step to breaking these on is just wearing them about, walking around. You can walk around your house. In our case, we're going to walk around the office a little bit, you know? Add a little bit of swagger to your step. You can flex into these boots a little bit, get into your snowboard stance. You want to feel what it's like to get those boots moving a little bit. Simply jumping up and down on your boots. Don't be scared. You're going to be doing this all day on your snowboard. This is nothing compared to what you're actually going to be doing when you're snowboarding on these. Okay, now what we're going to do today is a rapid break-in. And what we've got is I have one of the Snowboard Addiction jib boards here. The Snowboard Addiction jib boards are designed with a 4-hole mounting system. So you can actually attach any real snowboard binding to these boards. In this case, we've got the Burton step-in binding. I've got them mounted on a training board, and I'm going to practice a bunch of different tricks. This is the express way to break in your boots. It is way more work when you actually put proper snowboard boots on, but it gives you that realistic feeling of what it's going to be feeling like to control your snowboard. Our bindings are designed that you just use your socks in, which is great for training because you get less sweaty, there's a little less effort, but this is a great way to break in your boots. Okay, so Burton step-in, it's the ultimate in convenience. If you want the easiest snowboard binding in the world, this is it. I've never used these on the mountain yet. It's going to be my first season using them. I literally, that's it, I'm stepped in. I am in my binding right now. And you can do this at home on your snowboard. You don't have to be on one of our training boards, but I'm gonna be actually learning a bunch of jib tricks and motions. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna use a bit of toe edge. I'm using a bit of toe edge, I'm flexing into my hips and my knees. Same thing with a heel edge. I'm keeping the bent knees, and I'm lifting a bit of toes, right? I'm gonna move now to nose and tail presses. Nose press on that board, feeling out what these bindings and boots feel like. Tail press on this board. That's actually an important thing, is bindings and boots. You wanna make sure that your binding is the appropriate size for your boot. So for me, I have a US 9.5 boot, and that fits perfectly in a Burton medium binding. Most companies will tell you what binding fits what boot. So you want to make sure you've got a good fit. If you have regular strap snowboard bindings, like the heel strap and the toe strap, you want to make sure that they are pulling centrally on both your feet, so that when you're up there snowboarding, you have the most comfy fit between your boot and binding. That's what's going to give you the most time in the mountain with comfy feet. And this is important. You don't want to find this out on your first day, you want to find it out now. So do this at home, either on our training board, or if you don't have our gear, get your real snowboard out and do it. I'm going to show you a couple of quick things about these bindings, because this is the first time I've ever used them. So one thing that's super cool is that if you pop up the heel pad here, it actually gives you a sizing guide based on the size of the boot for the footbed. So this footbed slides forward and back depending on what size foot you have. Because I'm a 9.5, it recommends using that second hole there. Pop into that second hole so you know you're in the optimal size for a 9.5 boot. The other thing I spotted about these bindings is when I first pulled them out, I was like, oh wow, no forward lean adjustment. The forward lean adjustment is what angles your binding forward. And then I looked up the instructions on the bindings, and I actually found that the forward lean adjustment is the 2 screws here and here. So if you were to tighten those 2 screws there and there, what it does, it actually creates more forward lean on your binding. We have other videos that explain more about forward lean, but even the step-on bindings do have forward lean adjustment. One other thing I found out about these bindings is that when you step into the binding, you've got your first click, and then you actually have a second click movement. That second click movement is like, the first click is you're in the binding. The second click is you're in the binding properly. If you have no snow under your boot or between your binding and boot, you can actually get, that's the first click, that's the second click. So if you get 2 clicks, that means you're fully in these bindings properly. That's the most optimal way to use them, because if you have snow under your boot and binding, it actually can make the boot a little bit uncomfortable. One other thing that you can do as well is that you can actually get custom footbeds put into boots, which is a footbed that is made to the sole of your foot. A lot of good ski shops have the option to be able to do these footbeds. I have them in one of my sets of boots that I sometimes change between my boots. Using the whole amount of your foot inside your boot can just increase that comfort experience. This video is all about how to break in your boots so that when you hit the mountain for the first day, you're going to be the most comfortable you can and be able to ride as hard as possible. I'm Nev Lapwood from Snowboard Addiction. Our goal is to improve your riding.